Hi there. Today we're going to talk about the quality of supplements. I think it's a really, really important, timely, and relevant conversation for us to be having because you're probably hearing all over the place that there are important nutrients that you can be taking to augment the already amazing healthy diet that you are hopefully eating. And then for those of you who know that you're not maybe eating super clean, it's important for you to know which nutrients are needed to keep your body functioning optimally and to keep your immunity the very best that it can possibly be so that you have defenses in place. So we're the Empowered Women's Circle here to strengthen your body, specifically your immunity, elevate your mind, and nurture your soul, a wellness movement for women. So just a note, if you have specific medical health questions or concerns, make sure you get in touch with a healthcare provider. That is not what this presentation is intended for. This is really guidance and education for you. So we talked already in the previous video about what it is you need in terms of nutrients in order to set your body up with the best possible ingredients it needs to offset any assault, like a virus. We talked about needing vitamin A, B, and C for mucosal integrity. We talked about needing vitamin D3. We talked about zinc and how zinc can work in the body as well as locally with zinc lozenges, which seems to help break down the virus when it's just in the throat area. And also protein, because protein is the building blocks of everything. And we've talked about this already, but the question is, can you get enough in your food? And as a recap, what you mostly want to be eating are fruits and vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, and targeted nutritional supplements in order to augment what you're eating. So stay eating really, really healthy and consider that you may not be getting everything you need in your food. And what are you going to do to make sure you are getting everything you need from targeted personal supplements? You have to make sure you're avoiding things like sugar, alcohol, prepackaged or pre-made foods, because that is going to make your liver kind of go overtime trying to detoxify these things. And we need our liver to be doing its job detoxifying and maintaining our healthy immune system, and also avoiding saturated or heavy fat animal products. So we try to eat healthy, but can we actually get enough from our food? Well, it was studied, this was an animal study, and I'm sure I know there's many, many human studies, but this animal study really struck me because what they did was they gave animals high fat, high sugar diets, which essentially is like the Western diet today. And they found an impairment in brain function, meaning learning and behavior, in as little as 5 days. So, for example, when we're out, for example, taking our kids on a holiday and we think, well, we'll just do fast food. No, no, no. We have seen impact on brain function, learning, and cognitive abilities in as little as 5 days on a high fat, high sugar diet, which is essentially what a lot of Americans are eating every day. So even though we try to eat healthy, we know that we can't always get these things from our food. So if we need supplements, and if you agree that we need supplements, and many people don't, and that is totally fine, but if you agree that we need supplements based on the literature and the research I've done, I do believe that supplements are going to help our body in so many different ways, not just through a global pandemic, but in general for keeping us at that high level of function. And to remind you, nothing, there's no remedy, no supplement, no specific food, no essential oil, no homeopathic, anything that is going to prevent infection with COVID-19 should it occur. But what can we do to make sure that our body's ready to stay fit, healthy, and potentially mount an immune response that may be needed? So science has shown us vitamin C, D3, zinc, and acetylcysteine, as well as vitamin A. And if you want more specific medical information that I continue to flow outward to my Facebook page, Catherine Hansen MD, go on and like that page so you get those notifications. But I am watching the literature very, very closely, and I've also dug out some old dusty pathogenesis of infectious disease books, if you can believe it. And we know that there's good science for these specific Vitamins, minerals, and nutrients helping our body fight infection. At ID Life, we know that those nutrients are needed. So ID Life has actually packaged them into what's called an immune pack, an immune support pack. All of those science backed nutrients are in this. Now, it's not going to prevent an infection. We need to be really, really clear, but it's going to be giving your body targeted nutrients that will help it potentially, if any infection, and remember, we're entering flu season as well, if any infection insults our defenses. And if you're looking for more information on ID Life, go to ewcircle.com, and there's a tab at the top that says ID Life. That's really the simplest place to send you. But let's talk about quality of nutrients, because there is huge diversity in quality of nutrients out there. It's important for you to know who you can trust. And it may not be ID Life, and that's perfectly fine. But in this, the rest of this conversation, I'm going to give you the highlights of what you need to be considering when you're looking for a supplement program. So in the New York Times in 2015, there was a really interesting article that reported on a study that was done where they took DNA tests and they tested what was in the supplements on the shelf. And they tested various random supplements at Target, Walgreens, Walmart, and GNC. And what they found with this DNA testing was that 4 out of 5 of those supplements on the shelf had no active ingredients. So if it said it had vitamin D, for example, none was in the package. If it said vitamin C, none was in the package. And they tested for an array of nutrients, and they didn't tell us which brands they tested, but on the shelf, 4 out of 5 had none of the active ingredients. So then I asked myself, well, what did they find? And I pulled the original study and I started reading deep. They found asparagus, houseplants, wheat, soy, dust. I mean, they found all kinds of things based on this DNA testing, but not what people thought they were getting. The result of this was some cease and desist orders sent from the FDA to various commercial entities, and they told them to pull up their socks. But what can we learn from this? There are four categories of supplements: feed or agricultural grade, of course that's for veterinary use; cosmetic or nutritional grade, and this is what's sold in health food stores. They vary in their level of concentration of the active ingredient, of course, as we've learned, but they also vary in their quality of absorption, dissolution, meaning that the nutrient becomes available in the body, and their purity, what else is in them. Number 3 is medical grade. They're higher quality, but not the same as pharmaceutical grade. Prenatal vitamins would fall in that category, where they have an additional level of quality control, but not the highest level that's available, which is pharmaceutical grade. So asking these questions when you're considering what supplement program is best and safest and most effective and the best bang for your buck, because you don't want to be spending money on something that is not really going to help you, or maybe a detriment. So what do you want to ask? You want to ask about grade, about purity, bioavailability, third-party verification. So is there someone overseeing the lab? Disintegration studies, because if you can't absorb it and it doesn't become bioavailable for your body to use, what's the point? And what potential fillers might be in there? And all companies have some form of filler in their nutrients, but what is it? Is it wheat, soy? Is it dust? Is it asparagus? I mean, what is it? So quality comparisons. With respect to ID Life, which is the company that I have been researching and looking for any concern, and I have not found any red flags. ID Life is doing everything they do with incredible integrity. But in terms of the answers to those questions around this specific company, it's pharmaceutical grade nutrients. They don't make their own nutrients. They source their nutrients from the highest quality available and organic if possible. Sometimes that's not possible for minerals, for example. They don't come organic, but they're sourcing the highest quality possible nutrients that they can to bring them in to create your customized regime. In terms of purity, they're free of pesticides, herbicides, chemical contaminants. They have an independent lab that inspects, certifies, and ensures the purity of each ingredient. There's random and planned FDA inspections to ensure, again, purity, quality, concentration, dissolution, absorption studies, etc. What else do we know about nutrients? Nutrients can come in natural or synthetic forms. Now, I'm not always against synthetic forms because sometimes something synthetic has to be created in order to have a shelf life or to be made more available to our body. But in general, going the more natural routes with specific nutrients is usually better. So there's various forms of nutrients. Vitamin E, for example, in the natural form is absorbed better. But when you find, for example, a cheap vitamin E supplement on the shelf, you can bet that that's not the natural form. And vitamin E, for example, comes in many different variations. So there's at least 8 tocopherols, which are vitamin E forms, in ID Life, for example, not just the one and not synthetic that you would often find over the counter. So vitamin E is one of those ones that can be a real differentiator. Omega-3 comes in a natural form, but only 5% of companies, competitors with ID Life or ID Life, only 5% of companies will use that fresh form, which is known to avoid those unpleasant after effects. So the natural form of ID Life is, and the natural form of omega-3s and vitamin E, is in ID Life. And so these are the questions you need to be asking. Again, may not be ID Life for you, but be thinking and asking these questions about your supplement program. Vitamins and minerals can be water or fat soluble. We know that A, D, E, and K are fat soluble. What does that mean? It means that they can become toxic. So mega dosing, more is not always better. We want to make sure we're not getting too much of some of these nutrients, and specifically A, D, E, and K, but also some of those minerals and heavy metals that we know you take, that we know a lot of people take. And so it's really important for us to be thinking about whether a supplement is water soluble or fat soluble, and also the dosage that we are taking and how that interacts with the food that we're eating. In other words, if we're eating enough of, for example, vitamin C, if you're eating lots of fruits and vegetables, then you don't need to be taking a lot in your supplement program. ID Life does those adjustments for you, and they do it in a way that helps you to make sure you're getting only what you need and only the nutrients you need. So we know that water soluble vitamins, for example, need to be taken every day because they're water soluble and they go out in your urine. So if you're not replacing them every day, there's potential that your body's not getting enough of those things. So we know as well, a lot of people stay away from omega-3s, which are fish oils, which are so important for health, specifically brain health, but also for women around menopause. Omega-3s have found to be really helpful and have some potential cardioprotective or heart protective effects as well. But if you don't take them because they make you burp, you need to be thinking about where those oils are sourced from. And again, ID Life sources them from fresh, natural cold water fatty fish, actually, which ensures that you don't have those unpleasant after effects. Solubility, if your nutrients are not dissolving, you're just going to be passing them through your body and into the toilet bowl. So making sure there's disintegration studies of the tablets and capsules, making sure that they are verified by outside labs, and it's not just the company that's selling it to you is telling you that it's good, because sometimes that hasn't been verified. Now, what's this FDA Grass List? This is generally regarded as safe, and all of ID Life's products are on the FDA Grass List. This is the category that's used for a substance when it has undergone approval studies. It has good science-backed safety studies in the published peer-reviewed journals, or it can be grandfathered in if it's an ingredient or a nutrient or something that's been used since prior to 1958 and shown no harm, then it's grandfathered in. But all of ID Life's products and nutrients are on the FDA Grass List, and this is what we need to be looking for, because no supplements are FDA approved. It just doesn't happen with any supplements because they're natural nutrients. They're not, you can't patent them. They can't generally be patented and therefore approved as a prescription would be, for example. So no nutrients are FDA approved, but FDA regulated is what you want to be watching for, and ID Life is FDA regulated and on the FDA Grass List. Now, I mentioned fillers earlier, and we know that when a capsule isn't quite full, it needs fillers put in it. And the the most amazing thing that I learned about ID Life probably about 5 or 6 years ago now was that instead of inactive fillers, they use bioactive ingredients of these powerful antioxidants: curcumin, quercetin, green tea extract, broccoli extract, turmeric, things that are known to be powerful antioxidants, anti-inflammatories. And if you've never read the book you see on the slide here, Anti-Cancer: A New Way of Life by Dr. David Servin Schreiber, you must read this book. So it's not just for people who have cancer, or people who are concerned about cancer. It's for all of us to learn the ways that we can be providing to our body what it needs to prevent, we're talking about infection today, but also to prevent onset of cancer or to prevent cancer recurrence. And we know that there are potent antioxidants out there that have been included in your ID Life that are in that category. Now, this is not to say that ID Life will prevent or cure any disease. It is not tested specifically that way. But if you look at individual nutrients, there's lots of science to show that some of these really, really potent antioxidants are on their own, in their own category, cancer protective. So they're in your ID Life, and I think it goes without saying that it's pretty amazing that that's what they use for their fillers. And adulterants, you want to be checking any supplements that you're on for adulterants. Those are untested substances. They may be potentially dangerous, and they're usually a stimulant. So usually something to make you feel really good and make you like taking your product or your supplement or your nutrient. And they're not necessarily safe, and they're not necessarily studied. There are no adulterants in ID Life products, and you need to be checking your own products. Now, who has the time to figure out all of this? It's taken me many years of really digging into the literature to determine that I have come to really, really trust ID Life as my resource for myself and my family. And nobody really has the time, and that's why ID Life has made this so easy. So it's an online HIPAA protected health assessment. It determines what your diet is like, what your exercise habits are like, what your family history is like, what prescriptions you're taking, what medical diagnoses you have, and it puts it all together into a computer algorithm to populate for you a nutrient regime that is going to meet the needs of your specific health questions and goals. Oh, I want to close this presentation by sharing that it's not just nutrition that is really helpful for your immune system. You also want to be thinking about overall wellness, all the wedges of your wellness wheel: mental, emotional, spiritual, relational, financial, as well as this physical health piece. And relaxation response in terms of bringing down your sympathetic nervous system, increasing neurotransmitters like serotonin and GABA, oxytocin. All those feel-good neurotransmitters are also very healing. So is laughing. Really increases your dopamine and makes you overall feel good. That's also very healing in your body. Sleep, restorative sleep, is vital. A good amount of regular exercise gets you those endorphins during your workout, but also keeps your body ready to fight. And stay in touch with yourself. So we are in a time where so much is being thrown at us, and it's so easy to get distracted and disconnected and up in our head and up in all the chaos. And so I just really strongly encourage you to drop into your body and to really reflect on making sure that you're doing the self-care and you're tapping into what it is you need and seeking resources in areas that you may need further support. So we, as part of the Empowered Women's Circle, have a large women's circle at ewcircle.com. You can sign up for a newsletter. You can go grab our beautiful, newly available Reclaim Your Life blueprint, which outlines the steps that I use in my own life every time I'm ready to kind of step into some new health and wellness intentions and visions. It's all over there at ewcircle.com. If you are looking for a high functioning, high level of interaction with really powerful women who are taking their health and wellness to that next level, you want to be looking at ewcircle.com/diamonds, because that membership is open and we are scooping in really motivated, really health seeking women who are ready to engage, who are wanting to step up and step in, and are at the point where they know that they want to live the best version of their lives. If that's you, check out the Diamond membership and join us. We can't wait to be with you. Until I see you again, let your light shine, and I look forward to connecting with you at another one of our Empowered Women's Circle sessions or events. Come on over and join the circle. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.